All right, welcome to the show, y'all. Hope everybody out there is having a great day. We have a lot of wild stuff to get to today. So we're going to talk in just a second about Trump posting a Thanksgiving message, which went clearly full Nazi. Not even trying to hide it anymore. He pulled the full Stephen Miller on us. It is just astonishing and grotesque. So we'll dive into that. We also have the National Guard killer from last week. Apparently, he was part of a CIA death squad from when he was a child, which means the U.S. government recruited a child to murder for them. That's great. So we'll talk about that as well. We also have Pete Hegseth caught very clearly committing war crimes. Then he doubles down but accidentally admits it all, which of course exposes him to actual potential criminal charges. So we'll talk about that. We have Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen comes out and says the thing that we've all been thinking for a very long time. He accuses Trump directly on TV, by the way, of committing murder. So that's great. The rhetoric is ramping up in a positive way. Some Democrats are actually showing some leadership. We'll also get to Trump pardoning a $20 billion narco trafficker who was convicted in court. It's kind of hilariously disturbing because at the same time he's saying that Maduro is doing narco trafficking, which is why we have to kill him. He's freeing actual narco traffickers and fascists. And, you know, his pardons are completely and utterly out of control. I think that is the safest thing in the world to say, considering that every other week he pardons like the worst criminals in the country. So we'll talk about that. And we also have seemingly high Tucker Carlson crashing out on Piers Morgan. That is a gloriously weird video. And for the first time in a long time, maybe ever, I was actually sympathizing and feeling bad for Piers Morgan, which is that takes a lot to get me to that place. But that's exactly where I am. And then later on, we will talk about the story of the Christian idiot at the University of Oklahoma who flunked her psychology paper, then cried discrimination, and basically got the assistant teacher suspended for doing their fucking job. So, a lot of stuff to get to, as you can tell. You guys know the deal, man. Everybody, please do me a big favor and subscribe to the channel. That helps out big time and costs you absolutely nothing. You could also support the show on Patreon. That goes a long way because, remember, we are real independent media, not just online media. I've never talked to an advertiser. I've never done an ad read. I've never talked to a billionaire or anything like that. You guys fund this show from the ground up. I'm very proud of what we've built, but you guys have made it possible. You could also support Crystal, Kyle, and Friends on Substack. That link is below, or tip with the thanks button on YouTube. And, of course, go sub to the Corn's World YouTube channel because we do live Kyle and Corn episodes every Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And tonight, we should be having an episode as well. So come hang out with us. It's always a blast. And with that being said, let's go ahead and dive in, y'all. So as you all know, Thanksgiving was just the other day. And I hope everybody out there had an awesome Thanksgiving. I hope you ate your turkey and your stuffing and your mac and cheese and your sweet potatoes with the little marshmallows on top, which is my personal favorite. But our president on that day decided to go completely and utterly mask off. Now, it's not that he was mask on previously, but this is like really next level type stuff. This government has been outright flirting with Nazi talking points for quite a long time. Trump's ICE is basically the Gestapo reincarnate. Everybody knows that. You have the Department of Homeland Security Twitter account on a regular basis will post flat out Nazi memes. They do the 14-word thing. They do the like secret Heil Hitler thing. There's all this disgusting stuff that they post out there. And like it you don't even have to read too much between the lines. Like a lot of this stuff is not, it's not a dog whistle, it's a fucking foghorn directly in your face. Well, Trump decided to get in on the fun himself, and he posted this absolutely disturbing, rambling lunatic rant. So here's what he said on Thanksgiving, by the way. He says, "A very happy Thanksgiving salutation to all of our great American citizens and patriots who have been so nice in allowing our country to be divided, disrupted, carved up, murdered, beaten, mugged, and laughed at, along with certain other foolish countries throughout the world for being politically correct and just plain stupid when it comes to immigration. The official United States foreign population stands at 53 million people, census, most of which are on welfare." This is all totally fake, by the way, completely and utterly made up fake numbers. "From failed nations or from prisons, mental institutions, gangs, or drug cartels. They and their children are supported through massive payments from patriotic American citizens who, because of their beautiful hearts, do not want to openly complain or cause trouble in any way, shape, or form. They put up with what has happened to our country, but it's eating them alive to do so. A migrant earning $30,000 with a green card card will get roughly $50,000 in yearly benefits for their family. Let me just pause real quick to say, it's so far beyond bullshit. We need a new word to describe just how factually false this is, because it's the exact opposite. Undocumented immigrants cannot get welfare benefits. They can't get them. This is a lie. In fact, undocumented immigrants net pay tens of billions of dollars in taxes and get dick in return for it. So this is what the right does. They wage a war on truth. The fact of the matter is, the immigrant population in this country, they're some of the hardest working, most family-oriented people, and they're the ones who are oppressed on a regular basis, and Trump flips it like they're somehow the oppressors. No, you know who the oppressors are? The billionaires that suck you off on a daily basis and that you give billions of dollars in welfare to. What a sick, sick joke, man. He continues, the real migrant population is much higher. This refugee burden is the leading cause of social dysfunction in America, something that did not exist after World War II. Oh, please. Yeah, everything was great after World War II. Failed schools, high crime, urban decay, overcrowded hospitals, housing shortages, and large deficits, etc. As an example, hundreds of thousands of refugees from Somalia are completely taking over the once great state of Minnesota. Somalian gangs are roving the streets looking for prey as our wonderful people stay locked in their apartments and houses, hoping against hope that they will be left alone. This is insane. All of this is completely and utterly made up. Everybody knows it's completely and utterly made up. But since his regime is collapsing around him, he has to go and try to play the greatest hits and point the finger and blame immigrants. Get people talking about something else as opposed to him not releasing the Epstein files and him waging another stupid war and all that bullshit. The seriously retarded, he says, Governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, does nothing, either through fear, incompetence, or both, while the worst congressman and woman in our country, Ilhan Omar, always wrapped in her swaddling hijab, and who probably came into the USA illegally, in that you are not allowed to marry your brother, Jesus Christ, does nothing but hatefully complain about our country, its constitution, and how badly she is treated when her place of origin is decadent, backward, and a crime-ridden nation, which is essentially not even a country for lack of government, military, police, schools, etc. All right, let me just pause to point out, basically what he's saying is, oh, these immigrants, they hate this country. They really, it's really, all they do is talk bad about this country. Motherfucker, you ran on the platform of Make America Great Again. Of course, that means right now it's not great. In fact, you could go back and watch rally speeches where Trump talks about how we're basically a third world nation. We're a crumbling, disgusting, pathetic, crime-ridden third world nation. But if a Democrat were to come along and say the exact same thing verbatim as Trump, Trump goes, you hate America and you should be kicked out of America. The lack of logic is absolutely astonishing from the right. They don't care about the truth. They don't care about reality. They don't care about logic. They'll contradict themselves 48 times while trying to smear some minority population that did nothing wrong. He continues, even as we have progressed, Jesus Christ, bro, can we just say that the getting rid of the character limit on Twitter really cooked Trump's ability to communicate on the platform? That now this motherfucker truly is a rambling lunatic. Whereas in the past, when you had the character limit, he would say something and it would come across much more tight, much more witty, much more punchy. Now this is just like, give Grandpa his oatmeal and his fucking Seroquel and put him in the corner and hopefully he shuts the fuck up. That's where we're at now. That's where we're at. Even as we have progressed technologically, immigration policy has eroded those gains and living conditions for many. I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the U.S. system to fully recover, terminate all of the millions of Biden illegal admissions, including those signed by Sleepy Joe's auto pen, and remove anyone who is not a net asset to the United States or is incapable of loving our country, and end all federal benefits and subsidies to non-citizens of our country. Denaturalize migrants who undermine domestic tranquility and deport any foreign national who is a public charge, security risk, or non-compatible with Western civilization. These goals will be pursued with the aim of achieving a major reduction in illegal and disruptive populations, including those admitted through an unauthorized and illegal auto pen approval process. Only reverse migration can fully cure this situation. Other than that, happy Thanksgiving to all, except those that hate, steal, murder, and destroy everything that America stands for. You won't be here for long. Rich coming from a guy who is looting the treasury along with his billionaire donors at the moment, and he's going to talk about other people stealing. Absolutely ridiculous. But notice here, he literally said reverse migration. Remigration is a literal Nazi talking point. It is a white nationalist talking point. It's not actually a thing. It's not a thing. But effectively, the goal is We want to only have white people in this country. That's the point of quote-unquote remigration. So the white nationalism is out of the bag. The Nazism and the fascism is out in the open. There is no more hiding from it. There is no more plausible deniability. It's mask off. And guess what? He's going mask off at a time when his approval rating is fucking 36%. You don't have the political capital. You don't have the support to pull this shit off anyway, because people are looking at you going, hey, you fat prick, how about you lower prices? Inflation is out of control, you dipshit. How about you get that under control? How about you fix the economy? Unemployment is skyrocketing. What is wrong with you? Waging another war? Now you're going to try to fucking regime change Venezuela? What the fuck did they ever do to us? They didn't do dick to us. What are you talking about? So as the country is revolting, he's coming out here throwing a tantrum and saying remigration, which, by the way, let me also just point out, I don't know if this is actually Trump. I don't know. To me, this looks like Stephen Miller trying to sound like Trump. That's what it looks like to me. So it's Stephen Miller going, well, how do we distract from the Epstein files? How do we distract from this new regime change war we're committing? I don't know. Let's go out there and play the hits, and I'll do my whole Nazi tap dance and say fucking remigration and, change the news cycle to focus on that. This looks like Stephen Miller trying to sound like Trump, taking his phone and posting. And we did learn the other day, remember, that because of the texts that MTG posted, that there's a 30-something-year-old female staffer who tweets as Trump as well. So this could be that person as well. Now, by the way, that's not me, letting Trump off the hook here. Of course, he's ultimately responsible. But as I pointed out to you guys before, at the moment, he's not the real president. He's not. We have multiple real presidents. It's Marco Rubio for foreign policy. He's the one calling the shots, the neocon imperialist psychopath. We have Russ Vought for domestic policy, and we have Stephen Miller for immigration, for domestic stuff. So this is who's actually calling the shots. And guess what? That's an anarcho-capitalist, and that's a fucking Jewish Nazi fascist, and that's a neocon imperialist psychopath. Those are the people who are actually running the country. So, look, point is, I don't want you guys to get used to what we're witnessing, this horror show that we're witnessing. There was a time when on Thanksgiving, any president, Democrat or Republican, would post like, "Happy Thanksgiving to all. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful meal and enjoy the holiday." Like, that would be normal, right? Instead, we get this literally rambling lunatic who says this shit. Like, don't get used to it. Don't accept it. Understand this is hell. We're living in hell. And they're only making it worse on a day-by-day basis. All of this needs to be called out. Everybody in this regime needs to be fucking locked up. Because it's one criminal worse than the next throughout this whole regime. And do not lose sight of that. Keep your eye on the prize. And understand that their day will come. Their day will come. They will be tried. All the evidence will be presented. And they will be locked up for life in most cases. That needs to be the case if we give a shit about checks and balances and rule of law. But could you imagine we go back in a fucking time machine to, I don't know, say the year 2013, and I told you that in 2025, the president would just be posting Nazi talking points on Thanksgiving. Well, that's where we wound up. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.